Hello, I'm early because why not? Because Keith. No, I kid. But Keith was goading me in the chat today, my good friend Keith. Hello, everybody. I'll wait for people to slowly trickle in since I am early, and that's mean of me. I said 6. It's 5:58. How dare I? Lots to talk about today. Lots to talk about in general, news, book club, plenty of stuff going on, lots of confusing stuff going on. I don't even know what's going on with Disney World reservations. Like, I've been trying to keep up on all of it, but we'll get there. We'll talk about it. I feel like every day there's new news, there's new everything going on. PTP grad, it does make sense for you to stay because we always open up with talking about the book for 10, 15 minutes. Anyone else is reading it gives me their feedback and we talk a little bit, but then we talk about Disney stuff. So if you want to leave and come back, if you want to hang out, there's no real spoilers in the book because it is a nonfiction book. So nothing I say is going to be surprising if you wanted to read the book. So I recommend sticking around because it's always an interesting discussion. But for the live stream, we aim to get to the halfway point of the book and discuss it, and then I put out a full review later on. So, but yeah, I'll wait till actually 6 to really get into it. But how's everyone doing on this fine Tuesday? I had to think about what day of the week it was because I don't really know anymore. I feel like that's everybody's lives right now. I did get to go to Connecticut over the weekend though, which was nice. I got to stay by a pool and was safe and social distance, I promise. So at least I sort of wasn't trapped in my house for a weekend. I'm doing good. Fun Disney fan. I'm glad that you were doing good too. Doing all right. It's beautiful outside. We've had beautiful weather in New Jersey for the past week. Hot, but really, really nice. So I can't complain. PTP grad says you're on a brief vacation and flying to Universal tomorrow. Good luck. I may be flying at the end of July to Michigan, not to Disney. And I'm a little nervous about it. We keep going back and forth on if we're definitely going to make the trip or not. But do let me know how it is. I've actually heard good things. People tell me oh yeah, I flew and there's nobody on the plane and they keep everything super clean and Hi Lorelai, thank you for joining. Damien, thank you for joining. See, I knew I just had to wait till at 6 o'clock. I started a little early, but we haven't gotten into much. The flight is the scariest part. It really is. I'm not worried about going to Michigan. Michigan's doing really, really well in terms of the whole coronavirus thing. We are going to a very tiny town in northern Michigan. We do it every summer. Peter's been going for years. And it's not so much about being there because we stay at a cabin. It's remote and all of that stuff. It's the flight that's kind of scary. All right, so we've got a few people in. I'm gonna kick it off as usual. What we do, if you've not done one of these specific live streams before, we talk a little bit about the book that we were reading for book club. About 10-15 minutes, we go into what we think so far at the halfway point, and then after that, we jump into Disney stuff. Like I said, there's a ton to talk about, and I really want to hear especially what you guys are planning and doing and experiences and all of that. But the book that we're reading for this month, I'll say, even though I feel like it's taking us a little bit longer than a month because it is a heavy read, is The Queens of Animation. It is a book that came out late last year. It is about the women who worked at Disney on many of the classic animated films, who don't always seem to get a lot of public credit for the work that they did. I feel like the one name that I think is most publicly known that they talk about in the book is Mary Blair. But it tries to bring to light some of the work that these women had and the impact that they had on classic Disney animation. So it's very dense in terms of reading. It covers the stories, and I wrote down their names here. It specifically focuses on Mary Blair, like I said, Grace Huntington, Retta Scott, Sylvia Holland, and Bianca Majoli. And beyond that, it also talks about like the techniques and the artistry behind the movies. And so it tends to jump around a bit, and it's just like a whole bunch of information just hitting you in the face. I've been actually opting into the audio version this time around. Normally I get a physical book. I was like, I want to see what it's like to listen to the audio version while I'm, going for a run or doing yard work or whatever. And one thing that I find people have been telling me, whether reading or audio, is that the way that the author jumps around from woman to woman and artist to artist is really confusing. And I totally agree. There are times where she will be talking about Grace, and then she will jump over to Mary, and it's like, what is happening? Who are we talking about now? What story? Like, it's a little bit hard to follow. Would probably be my biggest criticism as of right now. Also, I think the opening throws you off a little bit. So, she really goes, the author Natalie Holt really goes right into like, back, in the 40s, Disney Studios was super misogynistic and treated women poorly. And I'm not trying to say that that's not true, but she tells a story about, I can't even see the fact that she jumps around so much. I can't think of the specific artist, but she goes to one of those pitch sessions where she's talking about her ideas, and the men berate her so badly that she runs out of the room and she hides in her office, and then they're like literally pushing down the door to get in and tell her how bad her idea is. And you're just like, whoa, this is like really intense and a really intense story to like open up with. And kind of seem to skew on the really negative side, but I will say that after you get past that first kind of intro, she does actually have a very good balance of saying like, these are the struggles that the women dealt with, but these are also some of the wins, and these are the people who were supportive of them, and here are the people who maybe weren't so supportive of them. And it feels less intense, I feel like, as you get through the book, but it's kind of off-putting in that first like introduction chapter, I feel like. Another crazy thing was just thinking about, it's funny how we love Bambi and Pinocchio and all these classic movies, but like funny to hear how they were like box office failures, at least compared to Snow White. And it's weird to think that like those movies are so beloved now, but at the time didn't do well for them, despite all of the beautiful effort and work put into them. Like, hearing the lengths that artists went to get, the animation Bambi just right made me want to go to Disney Plus and turn on Bambi and watch it again. Like, I will say that this book really makes you, it goes so into the detail that it makes you really go, whoa, like I never really thought that, that it took so much to create this scene or to create the music or what have you. Because especially when you're a kid, you just kind of watch the movie and enjoy it. You're not really thinking as a child, at least like the way I grew up with it, of like how this is made. But I think that the book made me have a better appreciation for those movies and like makes me want to go back and watch them with that understanding of like just how much creativity and research and everything that went into creating them. And then one thing that I really loved is that apparently, and I didn't know this, I don't know if it's common knowledge, but that Disney Studios was going to work on a Gremlins movie based off of short stories that Roald Dahl had written. And this was when Roald Dahl was just writing. Like, he used to be like a pilot, and then he started to write about these gremlins that pilots felt that they saw when they were in the air, like scurrying around on their planes, which is creepy as hell. And they talk about how these pilots came into Disney Studios to be interviewed about like what they looked like and whatever, and the artists were like blown away by how serious these pilots were, that these gremlins existed. Like, to me, there was something like kind of weird about that whole chapter, because I was like, whoa. Like, it's just crazy to think of like very serious fighter pilots being like, yeah, there's really gremlins that like run around my plane. Anyway, I love Roald Dahl. When I was a kid, I was obsessed with all of his stuff. So that's why I kind of perked my ear when I was listening to the book. because I didn't know this story, that they were going to work on a film. But then Roald Dahl apparently was like really like, oh, this is how the gremlins talk, and this is what they look like, and this is like how it's supposed to be. And apparently there was a lot of butting of heads, and in the end, it just never happened. That movie never came about. But I just thought that was like really, really fascinating. Fun Disney fan says the BFG is one of my favorite children's books. Yeah, I think I loved James and the Giant Peach a lot when I was younger. What's the other one? The one about the witches. I cannot think of the name of it off the top of my head. But like, I obsessively read all of his stuff when I was a kid. So I had no idea that there was potential to have a Disney Roald Dahl animated movie. So I thought that was really interesting. I know that I was like briefly skimming through some reviews of the book, and it seems like some people thought it was a negative that they talked so much about the actual animation style and techniques, and they were like, oh, I just really wanted to hear about the women. But the women were the ones who like employed these techniques, so I actually liked it. I thought it was really interesting. If that's not what you want to hear or read in this book, then maybe you'd want to pass on it. But I thought it helped. I thought it like added color to the whole thing. I was literally called the witches. There you go. Thank you, Pizza Vegret. That's my old brain not thinking right now. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. But it is a book that I feel like is going to be like on the longer side for completion for a lot of people. I find that the nonfictions are just harder to get through, and that's just because they're jam-packed with so much information, and I feel like I want to like stop and kind of take that in, as opposed to when we read the Black Spire book, which is like a quick read, you know, it's just like a fictional Star Wars story, and you just kind of blow right through it. But I mean, I would recommend it so far. We'll have to see like what my final thoughts are when I wrap it up. And as always, I'll be giving away a copy, even though I don't have a physical copy. Someone will get, well, either a physical or audio copy, whatever you prefer. I always like to give people the chance to read the book that we were reading. Andy says, sorry, I'm late to class. My mattress just showed up and I had to test drive it. Totally get it, dude. When we got our mattress, we got a Casper when we moved in, and that was like the first thing you have to do is just like lay on it, jump on it, you know, see how it's like working out for you. It was also my first king size bed. I felt like such an adult. So I totally get it. So yeah, so those are just my thoughts on Queens of Animation. I don't know if any of you guys in the chat have been reading it. I would love to hear like your thoughts on it. But so far so good. I'm liking it, even though it's funny that I'm seeing reviews that seem a bit mixed. I was looking at people's reviews on like Goodreads and stuff. So to each their own. But I think it's really, really fascinating. Also, if you love Mary Blair, there's a lot about her. I think actually they focus quite a bit on her in this book, so I would highly recommend it for that. But if we don't have any questions or anything else on that book, we can jump into the craziness that has been going on this week. And when I say the craziness, I mean people trying to make reservations, things going on in the news about opening dates, all of that stuff. Andy says he's at 73%ish. You're further than me, I think. Surprising and engaging for sure, listening to it via Audible mostly. That's what I'm doing via Audible, which I think is actually, I like whoever the narrator is actually quite good. I'm really, really into the Audible version this time. One of my favorite Disney biographies. Oh, Avery, it's good to see you. Read it after Easter and found it quite fascinating. Definitely a fabulous read. Yeah, it's very honest, right? Like, I think we have a certain view of Disney Studios, and to read the honest struggles that some of the women went through could be like, oh, that tarnishes like your views of something that you love, but it's honest and it's truthful, especially to the time period. So I think that's really important. So reservations. Oh my gosh, guys, everything broke. Apparently, they did the park reservation systems for people who had resort reservations only so far. Tomorrow, I believe, is annual pass. Annual pass holders can do their reservations. But because they opened it up for 15 months, Disney World, they opened up 15 months of reservations, which goes into like what, September? Is it September of 2021? Things just crashed. Everyone saw this coming. Everyone was talking about it. Everyone was like, does Disney really think that they're going to be able to handle the onslaught of the traffic? We know their track record. I can tell you from like my D23 experience last year, like, you know, they're not exactly number one in IT. So it did sound like it was problematic, but a lot of people eventually got through. It's just like some people are saying they took like 2 hours to like get through and get reservations. Again, that could just be because of the mad rush. I think that people who are booking like further out, who aren't booking in the next like 3-6 months, should just wait. I wouldn't freak out about making your park reservations for like 2021, but I think everyone did, and so everyone just jumped on the website at the same time. Fun Disney fans said every time you try to even call the phone lines, it goes straight to busy. All 23 times I've called today. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. PTP grad says it took me 7 hours. Wait, did you just like have the page open? Like, so I was reading like one of the blogs laid out how the process works, did all the screenshots and stuff. Seemed a little, not confusing, just kind of convoluted, just a lot of steps. That's just, it's interesting that Universal opened, it was just like, we're open, and then Disney's like, we're open, but here's a million different ways you have to do it. Now look, I'm going to be my complete honest self and say that I don't blame them. I think that we have to be really careful with reopening. I think that with what's going on in Florida right now, I don't want to be a naysayer here, but I feel like the dates might get pushed back. That's also because Disneyland and Disney World employees, now Disney World employees are joining along, Disneyland was doing it first, are petitioning the companies and the states to stop Disney from opening. They are not ready to go back to work. They don't feel safe enough to go back to work. And right now, those are 2 states where cases are increasing. I am always a proponent of safety. I unfortunately know a couple of people who passed from coronavirus in the past couple of months. Friend of a friend, the other one was a mom of a friend. And so I know that it's very serious, and I worry that with everything that's going on, I don't know. I get why Disney has a lot of the restrictions. They're really trying to do it in the most mindful way possible. I don't know if things are still going to go as planned in July. We'll see. But that's just me. You can agree or disagree. I know some people really want to go back really badly. I know some people want the economy reopened, and I get those arguments 100%. It's more that I'm looking at what's happening in Florida right now, and that's making me concerned. Fun Disney fan says Disney is a much different beast from Universal. This is true. Damien, who's over in California, says I think Disneyland is going to be delayed now. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how much like pressure is being put on the parks by the unions and the employees. I mean, here's the thing: if you open a park and your employees don't show up, you can't run a park. So, I mean, I don't know. Queenie says, yeah, I'm not trying to get things for 2021. If I can't get it, I can't get it. I'd rather be safe and not aggravated than get a hotel. That's fair. Fun Disney fan says, the petitions go against everything I'm seeing from the cast members of Disney Springs and the DVC resorts. The Disney World one, as far as I know, is like newer. Disneyland unions have been petitioning for a few days now. The Disney World one just sort of cropped up. I have several friends who work for Disney World. I have not talked to them about it yet. I am eager and interested to see where their individual thoughts lie on everything. I do know I have one friend that like her and her girlfriend both work at Disney. They live together. They have to pay their mortgage. They want to work. So yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what people's thoughts are on it. But clearly a lot of people want to go. Like, I mean, if today is any indication, with the website going down, there are a lot of people who are prepared to go. I don't think that we're seeing any shortage of that. I do know with annual pass holders, there's been like confusion about some of the limitations. Some people are like, oh my God, I can only do 3 days. What's the point? You can do is, if you have a resort reservation as an annual pass holder, you can reserve park days for all of your resort days. It's only if you don't have a resort reservation that you are stuck at 3 days. So if I went down and I stayed at the RVC, the Rob Vacation Club, which is unfortunately not a Disney resort, though it should be, Bob, I'm just saying, I would only get 3 days of park reservations under my annual pass. But if I had a reservation at French Quarter for 7 days, then I could do all 7 days. The reservations, park reservations, open up for annual pass holders tomorrow. So again, wish you luck. I hope Disney was able to like figure out / fix their issue, but they probably haven't in that amount of time. Personally, I don't know what I'm planning to do. It's interesting that these reservations are for so many months out, because at first I was just ignoring the whole process. I was like, I'm not going anytime soon. I don't need to worry about this. But then I realized it's for 15 months. And I was like, well, yeah, I'm probably going to go in the next 15 months. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to try to do park reservations under the 3-day limit for now. I have no idea. My brain is in a million different places with like what I'm planning to do. Yeah, it's confusing. I think the process is really confusing. I know somebody on the Discord was like saying they were worried because they couldn't buy tickets today, but then it turns out they can't buy tickets till tomorrow because they were trying to click the link to buy park tickets that didn't have an annual pass, and they were like, I'm just being taken to the COVID page, and then I think they can buy it tomorrow. It's just the way that it's all kind of rolling out. I can see being really, really confusing for people. I was just trying to see like what was, so apparently like CBS News was even talking about how the park pass system broke. And yes, it is confirmed. So, you know, I did that video a couple weeks ago because we did not know if parks were going to be 1 park a day reservations. It is confirmed. No park hopping. So that's a huge thing to consider as well. And something that, and I'm not, okay, this is going to come off like a super entitled annual pass holder, but I don't mean for it to. But I do feel like I've paid in full for a Platinum Plus, or Platinum Pass, not Platinum Plus, because I don't go to the water parks. Quite a lot of money, as we know. Those passes go up every year. And part of the reason why I get a pass like that is because park hopping is included, right? And, you know, dining discounts are included, and yet some restaurants might not be open. And like, I do feel like my annual pass is worth less. It's not the pass, or it's not giving me what I paid for in December. So again, I'm not trying to sound like, you know, super entitled about it, but it's also true. And so that's a tough call of like, do you want to go and then feel like you're not even getting everything out of your pass? Do you want to get the partial refunds? Like, so many decisions to make. I'm kicking myself now for getting that annual pass in December. The timing there was not great, you guys. Let's see. Fun Disney Fan says the petitions go again. Oh, sorry. The only bad thing about if Disneyland gets pushed is it'll take that much longer until the cast members can start earning a paycheck. Right. And so not everyone is going to agree with that. So that's going to be really interesting. Disney can't win no matter what they do. I mean, yeah, that's a given, right? They prolong their opening, they're going to get backlash in terms of, you know, people need a paycheck, people who argue about, you know, we need to open up the economy, open up businesses to restart the economy. They open, and then they'll get backlash of, well, cases are rising, what are you doing? You know, you're right. They're in a really tough situation, whereas It's almost like Universal opened at the right time because it was before things started to skyrocket. And, I don't know. Avery says Disneyland has never been closed for its anniversary. I'm curious to see if Disneyland would open only for the anniversary week and then close again. I almost feel like that would be a tease if they did that, right? I feel like that would make people so angry. I don't know. I don't know if they could do that. I mean, they would have to say it ahead of time. Like, we're only opening for a week. You couldn't just do it and then surprise we're closing. I don't know. I don't know if they would risk that backlash. My friend Jimmy is here. Critical Reviews. I am good. How are you? I was just on Jimmy's channel recently. We talk about non-Disney stuff there. So if you want to hear me gush about The Lonely Island and Andy Samberg forever, that is not a compelling sell to this video. Do you just want to listen to me gush about The Lonely Island? But that is what I do on the video I had with him. Oh, God. I have problems. Fun Disney fan says at least they may be giving every annual pass holder an extra month. Yes. So I think that's confirmed now. So, okay. So you get the extension from the time closed. So I've already been extended actually till April. Am I right? I'm going to check my app right now. Because I bought in December. And then there was discussion that there would be another month in addition added that I don't think was reflected yet. Let's go. You know what's so funny? I have so many people connected in my app. I have my friend Keith, who I don't know if he's still hanging out here, who's a cast member, so he has cool main entrance pass, and I can see that. I can see all of Kat's little tickets. I can see Rob's ticket. I got so much information on here. Mine expires right now, April 2nd, 2021, but that's without that extra month. Oh, Keith is here. Yeah, Keith, I have all your ticket information now. Not that it's a surprise. Yeah. So April 2nd, 2021, but then they're going to add a month. So May, which is why I'm like, crap, maybe I should try to get in on this reservation thing tomorrow. I can't deal with technology not working for me. I can't. I have no patience. All right, catching up. Sorry, I'm going backwards a little bit here. Magic in Michigan says it's okay to feel that way because you're losing benefits you paid for. Yeah, I mean, yeah. What are they going to do? They're not going to cut annual pass holders a check for, we've figured out that that's worth this much, so here's your money back. That's not going to happen. You're either just going to cancel and get a refund, or you're just going to accept it and keep your annual pass. I think they should open Downtown Disney first for 3 weeks and see how well people comply with the safety guidelines. If the guests are adhering to the guidelines, go ahead and open a month later. I mean, that's kind of what Disney World did, right, with Disney Springs. I think that was kind of a big test for them. Also, similarly, Disney Springs, a lot of the stores are not Disney owned, and you can't really stop Sephora from opening if they have all of their other stores open, and they're able to open. So, but yeah, I think that was definitely a really big test for them. If Disney mandates and forces masks, they would be safer than most places where masks are not mandated. It drives me crazy that people don't wear masks. It's wild to me that people don't wear masks, because in New Jersey, everyone wears a mask. I don't think, well, first of all, you have to. You're not allowed into grocery stores anywhere. They can literally say, nope, can't come in. But even before that was a mandatory thing, when we first started to have a rise in cases, people were just doing it. So, and again, Jersey was where I think Florida is unfortunately heading now. It's just a shame that it took other states experiencing that to then go, hey, we should wear masks and make that mandatory, when you could have just looked at us and been like, whoa, this is what's going on up there. Maybe we should be mindful that this could be our future, right? But it's weird because I go to the grocery store, every single person wears masks. Some people even wear gloves, even though you don't have to. And then Rob's like, yeah, I went to Publix and 20% of people wearing masks. So I'm just like, ugh, Just blows my mind. Let's see. Question. Which Disney World ride would you feel safest on and least safest on? Do you mean like in terms of like the coronavirus? Because that's a really interesting question. Maybe Haunted Mansion least, unless they like, because of the stretching room. Unless they like really limit it, which they probably would have to. How many people in the stretching room? You can't really tell people to go into the dead center anymore either. The most safe, TTA, I guess, because like you're kind of just in your own thing there. Or I was gonna say Carousel of Progress, because like nobody. It's always half the audience in there. You don't even have to like enforce social distancing. It just happens. I love Carousel of Progress. PTP grad says the additional month will not be reflected until the month before your pass expires. Okay, thank you for that update. Keith, we need to do another trip soon. Well, not soon. Agreed. Yeah, last time we saw each other, I was in Disneyland. I gotta get you back over to Disney World, but let's take our time on that one. Fun Disney fan says we can't make fast passes, and that makes me sad. There goes the 3 rides. I can guarantee that I'll get on without a long wait. Well, will it be a long wait if capacity is down? Because they're limiting it. I don't know. That's another thing we're gonna have to see. I'm gonna be real interested when Disney World does open to be checking those wait times. I'm going to be really, really interested. Do they go down? Are they the same because we can only allow so many people in a queue and they have to social distance? Like, I am fascinated by that data. I get geeky about data, stuff like that. Let's see. Trying to catch up. I worked at my Publix today. Only about a third of people wear masks in stores. People always complain about the masks and they feel better the more you wear them. Yeah, I think it's also just like make other people feel comfortable, right? Like, I don't know. I think it's just being considerate to others sort of thing. I would love for Disney to hire me to be a designated puncher of people not wearing masks. So that would be the next level up from that. What is it? It's like a social distancing squad. Distancing, I just said. What happened to my G there? Social distancing squad. That is gonna have to like enforce things. That's like next level. God, did you guys hear the story about what happened in Disney Springs? I think it was Disney Springs, yeah. Which is exactly what I've been fearful of. But apparently, this was on Twitter, and apparently a few people saw this. A cast member was spit on by somebody when they were told to wear a mask, and don't spit on people any day, but especially during a pandemic. But also, that is my worry for cast members. And I think that's also like, I think some cast members are nervous about that. You are going to have people who unfortunately are going to do things like this and react like this. And I think a lot of cast members don't want to put themselves in that line of fire. What a terrible thing. What a terrible thing to do. Like, pandemic aside, spitting on a person is just horrible. It's just a horrible thing to do. And I'm sure that cast member did not deserve it. Damien says, people here in LA wear masks and we should. However, the knuckleheads in Orange County, where Disneyland is, are fighting not to wear a mask. I mean, I'm shrugging on that one. I don't really get the logic. Carousel of Progress, yes, that was what I was asking. I suppose the coasters, if they space them out a lot. Even though, did you hear, we were talking about this last live stream, Japan was saying you can't, on any of their theme parks, like, scream on their coasters, because apparently that would project and, spread coronavirus. That would be hard for me. I'm a screamer. Queenie says, anything that's outside with vehicles away from each other seems safest. Yeah, I mean, I figure TTA, it does go indoors at some point. Maybe Space Mountain area would be your most risky area, but for the most part, I think, anything else that travels at like a decent speed. What do you predict will be the new average wait for Flight of Passage, knowing it used to be 125-minute average wait? Ooh. I'm gonna say it's hard because I don't know how like the social distancing aspect of queues is gonna affect it. I'm gonna throw a random 100 minutes out there. We're gonna knock it down 25 minutes. It's gonna be my $1 bet. Magic in Michigan says, haven't we seen that the lines are still long at Universal for that reason? Fewer people allowed on the ride at a time, so wait is still timely. Yeah, I think the first day or two, not so much, but now that more people are feeling more comfortable going to Universal, yes, we are starting to see more consistent longer waits. Damien does, Disney says, like the punching people in the face, we can call them the mighty Disney mask enforcers. I like that. Critical Review says, you can't scream. I'd love to see them shut down the ride mid-drop. Yeah. I mean, I think they just want people to like try. They even had like a rule that was like, if you're walking around the parks, you need to keep conversation to a minimum. Like, it was really weird. But it's also Japan, and I feel like people would abide by that because they're so nice. They're so about like being polite. So I think if they were told to like not scream and to not have like idle chatter, they would do that. I'm trying to catch up on things. Oh, Fun Disney Fan, this is going to be a weird question to you guys, but we were talking about this in the Discord. We're joking, and then there was a question of what is your preferred way to die? When I was younger, I used to always say on a roller coaster because I figured just having a whole lot of fun, and then there you go. The last thing you remember is having a whole lot of fun. But now, I don't know, when I'm really old. Hey, Callie, good to see you. Thank you for joining. Fun Disney Fan says, how do you feel about the rumor that Disney will use no virtual queues anywhere upon reopening, including rides? Yes, I saw this. Apparently, there was like somebody who like saw like a cast member or something that they were saying to other cast members, like, hey, heads up, there'll be no virtual queues, that's crazy to me because I would think you'd want the exact opposite. Something Rob and I have talked about a lot on the TTA podcast is, wouldn't it make sense to have more virtual queues? Because then you can really control the flow of how many people are in the queue, and then you don't have people like, I guess my worry would be people kind of crowding up on a ride to try to get in the queue, and then cast members having to be like, no, like, you know, we're at capacity for social distancing, which I feel like people crowding up, that's already making sort of an unsafe scenario. So like, just do the virtual queue. It's really easy. Nobody will come bother a cast member unless they have, you know. So yeah, I mean, that's really, really interesting. And I wonder the reasons behind it. I don't know what they're going to do for Rise. I mean, forget it. I feel like the wait for Horizon is going to be like crazy. I don't know. That's just crazy. I mean, it might be very well true, but that's just crazy to me. Hero 75 says, I was kind of surprised by the no fireworks at Disney. I expected it at Epcot only because it is easier to social distance. Oh, so having fireworks at Epcot as opposed to the other parks. This is true. It is very easy to watch Epcot fireworks with little people around you. You know, obviously there's certain spots that are really popular. If you go up towards the lake, you're gonna have more people around you, but you can still watch it from certain distances just fine. But I think they just don't want to risk it, right? Like any sort of risk of people crowding together in a spot is just something that Disney does not want to touch. John McKinney says, when people complain about change in the parks, why do they still go? If it really makes them sad or depressed, then they shouldn't go. Why not just hang out at the hotel instead? You know, I can't speak for those people because my decision is not to go. And my decision not to go is less about and it's partly the restrictions, and it's partly I'm not comfortable yet being in a crowded space like that. Just me. I think I need a little bit more time, and I think we're all on different levels right now with our comfort or not with the whole pandemic. I think that there is the people who like to complain and yet still feel the entitlement of going. And I think that's part of what you see a lot of. But I kind of agree with you. Like if I was going to go and not having these things and wearing a mask or whatever, I felt really was going to affect my experience, I just wouldn't go until the things that are affecting my experience negatively have changed. But I think it's that whole thing of like, wanting that slice of cake and eating it too. Like I want to go. I deserve to go. I always go every year, 3 times a year or whatever. But I also don't want to wear a mask. I mean, unfortunately, you can't have it both ways right now. So I do think that the people who like you said, they complain and they're sad about it, but they're still like pushing to go. There's a little bit of a weird entitlement to it. Or you just want to go and you're fine. You're fine with dealing with that, And that's fine too, because there's gonna be plenty of those people who go. They're going to Universal now, and they're having a great time. So I don't know. PTP grad says virtual queues are going to make their attendance in the main part of the park larger and limit how many people could come and wander about. I while they're waiting. I was like on the rating and then I realized it was a typo. I guess that makes sense. I don't know. Like, it's just, I'm trying to understand the logistics of some of the decisions made. But again, it's still a rumor, but I can't imagine what it's like to be the people trying to figure this out on the other side. Like, the people who work at Disney who are like, okay, what are we keeping? What are we cutting? How are we do? Like, it must be so stressful, I feel like, to decide that and then to be the one who, like, puts that information out there. I mean, Disney Parks blog, man, you've seen those comments. But again, I work in social media. I've been doing this for like 10 years. I can't tell you the things that I see sometimes, which are downright awful. And you become really numb to it. You're just like, whatever. So I feel like the people who monitor comments at Disney Parks blog just probably equally have a laugh and move on. What do you think about the new color scheme in the castle? Is it too bright or do you think it's fine and will fade over time? I think it's lovely. I don't think it's too bright at all. It will definitely fade over time. That's just the way that sort of stuff goes. I really love it. I think it looks really, really nice. And I'm excited to see it in person when I do. I think it looks beautiful. See, what are people's thoughts that this is prime opportunity for a resort only trip given all the restrictions? I mean, I think there's certain resorts where I feel like you can justify and certain resorts not so much. Like, I'm not gonna fly down for like pop, because there's just not enough given to me at that resort. But if I wanted to save my money and do, I don't know, a deluxe or something like crazy that I've never really done before, but then would also have the opportunity to enjoy the resort more, because one of the reasons why I hesitate sometimes to even consider staying at deluxes, even when I really want to, is that I know myself and I'm going to be go at the parks and I'll tell myself I'll spend more time at the resort and I never will. So if I was in this scenario where like it makes almost more sense or it would feel safer to stay at a resort, then maybe I would go big and just do like Animal Kingdom Lodge and then like spend all my time there. I think we're going to see more of that. I do. It's going to be really interesting. Fun Disney Fan says, I personally think the new castle paint colors are gorgeous. Yeah, me too. I think it looks really, really good. And I think it was super needed. Hero says, I know people have talked about retheming Splash Mountain. Is there a different ride you would retheme in the Magic Kingdom? I mean, part of the reason people are talking about it is just because of the movie that Splash Mountain stems from and everything that's going on right now. And it's so funny because I swear, I don't know when it was, timestamp it, somebody find it for me, but there was a TTA episode where I said Princess and the Frog Splash Mountain. I'm telling you, I tell the future. But if I was just going to retheme another Magic Kingdom ride to like a different, I guess we're thinking IP, right? That's a tough question because I feel like a lot of the Magic Kingdom rides are just so good. But I would probably retheme I know. Let's just make like Peter Pan, like, I don't know, a Pirates of the Caribbean 2, except all about the movies, just to annoy people. Like, that would just be like my ride to just piss people off. Let's see. PTP grad says, I work at Renaissance Festival, and when the joust lets out, the streets become insanely crowded because so many people are sitting in the joust or waiting on a show. If you do the same thing with a live space like this, if they're not standing in the lines, they're standing in the streets, and that's going to make physical and social distancing nearly impossible. That does make sense, especially if you're like, well, I have my virtual queue reservation in 2 hours. I might as well just go and wander about. But at the same time, isn't that a big draw for Disney? If I can't go and wander about, for me, like, part of the trip is the atmosphere and enjoying all of that. And again, couldn't Disney control how many people are in the park with, like, how they control virtual queues? I don't know. I'm not gonna pretend like I know park logistics. So, Keith says, Peter Pan's more obvious racist tones than Splash Mountain. Get rid of Native American scenes that exist in any of the versions. That's actually a really good point. Andy says, Song of the South is in my queue to watch with the others mentioned in Queens. Seen it once before. What on earth were they thinking? Different time. I mean, and it's not an excuse, but like back then that was just, unfortunately, okay. I mean, part of what was mentioned in the Queens of Animation book, actually, they talk heavily about Fantasia and the scene with the Minotaurs, and there was originally really racist depictions of this like black female Minotaur. I mean, if you look her up, you'll, as soon as you see it, you just go, oh my gosh, this is awful. Like, how was this okay? But it was to them, it was comedic and it was normal and it was fine. And then even, you know, a few decades later, apparently a lot of the animators are super embarrassed by that scene. I mean, it's been cut out, and you know, again, not an excuse, but it's crazy sometimes when you see that. But I think it's also eye-opening. Let's see. I'm shocked how much coverage the Splash Mountain change is getting. It literally got front page of the Hollywood Reporter. In my opinion, the ride is fine because it's so distant from the movie. Queenie says the ride is a slave narrative, so it's hard for me to see it as distant from the movie. I think that's like, we have to. I don't want to say, like, when I was a kid growing up, I didn't know what Song of the South was really. I just knew Splash Mountain, right? There was no context to me of that movie, and so to me, when I was a kid, I could say, sure, yeah, that seems fine. But I think that we need to like understand the perspectives of multiple people and the people that it's impacting, and the people that do see the narrative and the people that do know where it came from. Also, we've enjoyed Splash Mountain for so many years. I'm okay if it changed. I mean, like, to me, it's like any Disney ride that's changed. Yeah, I'd be sad about it for a hot second, but I always love new things. I don't know. Hero says, I personally think Tom Sawyer Island will be rethemed or totally removed before Splash Mountain is changed out. That island is a waste of space, in my view. They could make something really, really cool. Look, I like Tom Sawyer Island, but I think you can make something so much more cooler and interactive, right? Like, it's definitely very dated. Queenie says, also, Keith, the racist tones of Peter Pan ride are something. Yeah, they are. Fun Disney fan says, will you be watching Hamilton on July 3rd like seemingly everyone else on the planet? You betcha. I saw it in person. It was not the original cast. I wish. I only saw it, 2018. I think it was like our first anniversary or my birthday gift from Peter. And it took us that long to like actually go see it. And that's like the only time I've ever like seen it or even listened to the music because I didn't want to spoil it for myself. So I'm excited to watch it and to watch it again, and to watch it again, and to like see the original cast. And yeah, I mean, like I said, if Disney Plus doesn't break, I will be watching Hamilton. If it breaks, we'll see. We'll see if it'll be July 3rd or July 5th or who even knows. Twixie Shore says the ride really not that distant from the movie at all. Like the easiest low-hanging fruit for making fun of Disney is Splash Mountain existing. It's true. I think, like I said, as a kid I never knew, but I think most adults know. You grow up and you learn about it and you know what it's associated with. And you're right, I have always seen people make fun of it. Keith says, also I'd like to see go the Tribal Chants and Jungle Cruise. It's funny, Rob and I actually talked about that a little bit on the TTA. He was like, yeah, you gotta change Jungle Cruise. Like, we started to think about all the ones that would have to be changed. And some of it's just like a scene and a part, and it's not like a major revamp, you know. But I do think they're gonna be really closely looking at all this stuff, as they should. Keith said, I once saw cast members try to reenact the Jungle Cruise while it was down, and they gathered around in a circle trying to do the tribal chants. That's a no from me, dog. John McKinney says, Esmeralda, Kim Possible, Jessica, Trudy, and Penny Proud are so hot. Why am I attracted to cartoon characters? Just kidding, I am sane. I used to think Robin Hood was super hot. I still think he's super hot. And he's a fox, okay? Like, come on. Damien Does Disney says, I really believe if the reservation system is very successful, I think it will become permanent. Especially for Disneyland and Magic Kingdom, since they are the two busiest parks in the world. Oh, I really hope it doesn't. I can't. Like, I am a big planner, guys. You know this. It's not that I'm against planning, but, like, you can't take away park hopping forever. Oh, my gosh. I'm sorry, I'm just having a moment. I mean, yeah, we might be joking one day, like, hey, remember back in the day when we used to be able to park hop? Those were crazy times. My kids are just gonna be like, what's park hopping, mommy? Let's see. Hero says the issue with changing out Splash Mountain is a lot of scene work is painted concrete, so the change would require a lot of work. Yeah. Queenie says, oh my God, Keith, yes, I'd love to see the tribal things in Jungle Cruise changed. Fun Disney fan says, I'm excited for Hamilton because I've never seen it. I'm curious if it could beat out Wicked, Hello Dolly, or Waitress to enter my top 3 musicals of all time. I think it could. It's, lyrically, it's amazing. It's like, absolutely phenomenal. Lin-Manuel, genius. Andy says Robin Hood is husband material, though. He 100% is. Yeah, he's the best. Fun Disney fan says, I'd like to add that Disney has said it will bring back park hopping as soon as they can. So, I mean, okay, but then, so you're doing park reservations for how many a day, right? Like, if the reservation system continues, that is like, is there 2 park limit? Can you do all 4? Like, it's just going to be interesting how that's all going to work. Avery says, what are your thoughts on the live-action remake Robin Hood that's in the works? It's one of my favorite movies, and I hope the live-action remake does it justice. There's been so many Robin Hood movies already, like, live-action. Why do we need a live-action remake of the animated version of Robin Hood? Like, you just don't need it. Like, there's so many other, like, Robin Hood movies that people can watch. That's one of the ones where it's just like, oh my gosh, we've done this before. We've been here before. And I'm sure they're going to try to make it more true to the Disney version, but, like, yeah, we don't need that one. Tootsie Shore says they did say that park hopping tickets will be available again for 2021 reservations. Plus, it's a huge moneymaker that costs Disney nothing. I doubt it'll be permanent. I hope so. Also, you couldn't, like, then you'd have to drop the price of annual passes, I feel like, too, right? You can't just be like, yeah, we're taking this whole thing out, but you still got to pay the same amount. PTP grad says, not having park hopping is making me depressed. I'll get over it. Yeah, me too. But, like, right now, I'm just like, how do you do that? It's the pressure of, like, choosing what parks, I just wiped lipstick on myself, of what parks, and what day is just too much. Aaron Sue said, I saw some people discussing how amazing a Princess and the Frog retheming a Splash would be. Yeah, I mean, we were just saying that, like, I think it would be, I love that movie so much. That music is so good. Like, the whole soundtrack is so good that it deserves a ride length of Splash Mountain. That's how I honestly feel. Like, it's so good. Andy says, I've also seen the Goofy retheme suggestion. It doesn't fit as well, but it was one of my faves as a kid, so it got my vote. Interesting. Fun Disney fan says the live action we actually need is a Hunchback remake that combines the setup from the Paper Mill stage musical and the ending of the animated version. Yeah, but you know that the live action one that they're going to make is going to be like neither of those things. Well, it'll probably have the ending of the animated version, I think, because they're not going to, I don't think they're going to change that at all. PTP Grad says, I have a 3-day trip this summer. I'm dropping Epcot. Ooh, tough choices, man. Like, that's the thing. I don't want to drop one, you know? Like, I don't want to, yeah. Ugh, I don't know. And then what if you just go for 4 days and then you do one park a day and then you're like, that wasn't enough. I didn't get to do everything I wanted to see. But if I was able to park hop, I could make it work. I don't know. It's tough. Sorry to go off the topic, but with the version of the what version of the PS5 are you planning to get? The disc-based version or the digital version? Damien, you know that if there's one topic I am always okay pivoting to, it's video games. I'm getting the disc version because I need the backwards compatibility with my PS4. So, and I have a lot of disc games for my PS4. So, yeah, getting the disc version. Still impatiently waiting for the launch date and when I can pre-order. I don't even care about the price. Doesn't matter. I'm going to throw all my money at it anyway. Let's see. Since Disney's remaking The Hunchback of Notre Dame, how likely do you think it will be rated PG-13? I'd like to see David Fincher direct it. I love David Fincher movies, so I'm right there with you. It might be. I mean, the animated is so dark, so I don't know. Like, what can you get away with live action that wouldn't require a PG-13 rating? But I also think it would hurt it so much if it had one. I don't know. To be honest, here's what I really think is going to happen with Hunchback. I think it's going to be a flop. Not because it's going to be bad. I just think most people don't care about Hunchback. Hello, I've been living this life forever where people don't care about Hunchback. So I don't suddenly see people rushing out and seeing the live action just because I don't think people care about the story. I'm going to see it, but I just don't think, like, it to me, I'm shocked that they're even, like, entertaining the idea because I feel like they have other more massive, popular stories to pick from. I don't know. With Universal making a Super Mario Land, if Disney would make a video game themed land, which IP would you want them to use? I said, no, okay, so it can't be Nintendo, obviously, right? Because now they're owned by Universal. Because, man, Hyrule and a Zelda land would be dope. But if we can't do anything Nintendo, then I need to think about other game IPs. All the game IPs I like are too dark for Disney. I was about to be like BioShock, and then I'm like, no way, that would ever be a thing. That'd be terrifying. Like Disney would never touch that. Maybe Uncharted. I feel like you can be more lighthearted with that. Just take out the shooting, you know, make it all about the exploration. You could fit that into Animal Kingdom or something. Jimmy says we need that Hunchback dark ride. I do. I don't know about all of you. I don't know if anyone else needs it. I just know that I do. I do need to wrap up in about 5 minutes. Peter is cooking dinner, and I can't leave him to eat alone. So just hit me with all of your questions, your thoughts. Kingdom Hearts kind of complicates that question, huh? I've never played Kingdom Hearts all the way through. I've tried so hard to play the first one, and it comes off really cheesy, even though I love Disney and I like Final Fantasy. I just couldn't. I'm going to try again one day, I promise. Trixie Shore says, holds my tongue on how these live-action remakes are ruining the benefits of animation as a medium. I 100% agree. I'd rather we just, go back to animation and not have that at all. Fun Disney fan says, Mulan is rated PG-13, so it isn't far off. Hunchback musical remake would definitely work as an awards contender, which may boost its box office. I also think many people would discover it. Maybe. Damn shame Alan Rickman died because I always thought he was the guy to play Judge Frollo. Oh, I love Alan Rickman. Yeah, he would be so good in a live action version of Frollo. He would be so good. Erin says, do you think we'll ever get another 2D movie? I hope so, but I really don't think so. I don't know. I feel maybe it'll be like, you know, they say everything is cyclical, trends come back. Maybe in like 10 years, we're gonna go the other way, and it'll be like remakes of the live action remakes of the original animated. So it's a remake of a remake, and then just blow your minds. What should I do for dinner? Andy is asking as he cracks open his third beer. Well, if I was 3 beers deep, probably something simple like pasta. Damien, it was great to see you here. Thank you for joining, and I do hope Disneyland opens for you on time. Oh my God, Alan would have been great as Frollo. I know, now it's like, forget the movie, put the kibosh on it. We can't have Alan Rickman. It's not worth doing. Andy says pasta it is. Thank you. You're welcome. I'm glad I'm like telling people what to eat for dinner tonight. If you had to only eat at one Disney restaurant for the rest of your life, what would it be? Quality and variety. I would just say Victoria and Albert's. I've never even eaten there before, but like, come on. Like, if I'm going to pick one place to eat always, I imagine the quality's up there. I don't know how much they like change their menu, but that's what I'm going to say. Queenie says, my hope is that we get a lower budget but still Disney quality 2D animated film on Disney Plus as a test. I feel like it could work there. You know, I forget. Like, that is a possibility, right? Like, they could put out more animated films on Disney Plus and see how that works out for them. I for one, would be all about that. One of the reasons I heard Disney is doing all these live action remakes is because research shows the newer generation thinks hand-drawn is boring, so to keep the IP fresh, they make it live action. Well, the newer generation needs to have a chat with me, okay? I've got 8 cousins who are all Gen Z, which is crazy. I'm gonna sit them all down and be like, yo, we need to go back through the history of Disney right now. You need to appreciate. Jimmy says, Christine, we're going to Takumi Te one day. It will change your life. I need to go so bad. Let's see. Victoria and Albert is amazing. Best bite of food I ever ate. Angie says, I've read Queens of Animation. The answer is cost. Very true. Anyway, guys, I need to wrap up. But thank you so much for joining me. This was so fun. Wishing all of you the best of luck for your reservations. If any annual pass holders are here and you're going to try that tomorrow, good luck. Let the technology gods be ever in your favor. And yeah, thank you so much for joining and for watching. And hopefully we can do this again really soon. Thanks, guys.